make sure you choose the right canvas. This canvas says white, so if you have B-Mix, use that. If you have Orion, choose the dark canvas, okay? You see that there's a dots here, right? The dot line here. Make sure you place your clay behind it, okay? The reason why you want to place the clay behind it is because you're going to insert this section into the pins, okay? So if you put it too close, you won't be able to go through, right? So put it behind it, okay? About here, and you can place your clay side by side, like that. Make sure you slightly overlapping it, okay? Overlapping it. If you don't, after you roll it, it will split up, okay? So overlapping it. On, okay? Flip it over and do that. You don't want to have a gap. If you have a gap, pinch a piece of clay and then fill it, okay? Fill it. All right, and we're talking about make sure the clay is wide enough. This should be wide enough. You can have a larger piece of clay and just chop it off. But if you have less, then there's no way you could work on it, right? So make sure you have it wide enough. All right, so that's the setup. And now we are going to bring this over to our slab roller. All right, so make sure that you see that this part here, you will be able to insert it because you don't have a clay all the way, right? And you just go from the corner, right? You see that is coming through that side, right? And pull it all the way, right? Until it touch that. Make sure you stretch all the canvas, right? You don't want to have a wrinkle like that, right? Stretch it out. And then now you can adjust the height, okay? The thickness of the pins, okay? This is where you turn it. Okay, you turn, there's arrow. If you don't move up the pins, meaning when you move up, meaning you are going to roll it thicker. And if you are going to go down, right, this is going up, right? Counterclocks, there's arrow here, right? You won't be able to see it, but when you come to that, this part here, you will see it. Okay, this is moving up, and then okay, all right, that's fine. That part is not important. Important part is the next. Okay. All right. So we are going to insert that again, and then you roll it again. So your texture will be deep. All right. Right. So you see that the texture is deep enough. Okay. And now we want to free up the canvas for the next person. So what do? You want to transfer your piece onto a newspaper. Do you know where to get the newspaper? There's a bucket right by the black shelf. So it's in there. So you can go there and get your newspaper. Okay. Flip it, cover it. And it's very easy to flip it because the clay is still sticking on the bottom canvas. So if you have a newspaper, cover it, and then just hold it like this, and then you pick it up. Right, so you could flip it easily. Okay, so now you transfer your clay onto the newspaper. You could free up the canvas and the person who can use it again. Okay. And I have several different textures there that you can choose. Okay. And we can share in the class. Let me carry over there. So we are going to work over the station. And then you see that when you roll, there's a texture from the canvas. If you don't want a texture, what do? Get this tool. Okay, this is called rib, R-I-B, rib, metal rib. Use that to smooth it out. Hold it. I will use the curved side. If you use the straight side, the corner might drag lines. So make sure that you use the curved side, and then you hold more horizontal, the better, right? You do that, you can smooth out the surface. Okay, so that's how you smooth it out. And if you wanted to, just sign your name now, because this will be on the bottom. Okay, so you can sign your name. So that's what I'm gonna do, sign my name. And then there's a problem when the clay is coming through the slab roller. It's a lot of stress going through. The clay particles being pulled by the stress. The clay has the memory, and it will reflect it during the drying stage or the firing stage. In that case, if your piece is the very flat piece, usually it tends to warp, especially there's a bump in the middle. So to fix the problem, I have a secret for you. That is very, very important. If you follow that, your clay stays flat, okay? First, I will chop up the clay a little bit so I don't need to have so much clay here. Right? We are going to transfer this onto a foam. This foam, okay? You put it on. Now it's on the foam. And then what you do is get something that is very flat. This something very flat. And you are going to put it on and compress it, okay? But this is non-porous. So if you do that, your clay is going to stick on here. So to prevent your clay from sticking onto the board, you can use this, or maybe a smaller one. Put it here, and make sure your clay is in the center. If the clay is not in the center, right, this is more toward this section, right? What do? Okay, you bump it, and then the clay move to the other direction, okay? And put it on top of it, and use all your strength to push. The farther down, the better, okay? But I don't think I have the strength. So what I do, use my body weight. All right? So put it on the floor, and then make sure when you climb up there, hold it on the edge of the table. I don't want you to trip, okay? So make sure you hold it on, and then your body is helping it, right? So I'm not worried about the texture, right? A little bit texture, it's not going to lose a whole lot of a texture, just a little bit, okay? Okay, so that take care of the problem. What problem? Warping problem, okay? All right? So I will choose the section I wanted to, and I choose the size of the board to, basically we are going to put this on top of it, okay? And then we're gonna use the board to push, and it will just bump the edge up. That's how you do it, okay? It's very simple and easy. So you could choose whatever the size you want to. If you want to make a smaller one, the same thing, right? Small, medium, little bit larger, longer, and the largest one. Okay, so this will be your compression part. Okay, so depending on the size you want to do, let me just do the medium size. Okay, medium size. So get to choose this section I wanted to. Okay, that's good. And now you want to cut a perfect rectangle with about 1 inch. Okay, 1 inch on the side. So this size plus 1 extra inch. Okay, so you're gonna use that, and then you can cut it. And I have a better tool here. This one. Put it on side, and then you can cut it easily. And I also have this tool. This tool I designed it myself. You can use, if you don't have this tool, you can use the needle tool, okay, needle tool. But this one, you will have less resistance. Okay, so hold it here. Right, perfect cut. Right, perfect rectangle. Now we need to transfer it onto the foam to our compression with the texture on top, right? With the texture on top, without the newspaper. I don't want a newspaper because when you push down, the newspaper gets wrinkled. So I would take out the newspaper. What do? I could flip it somewhere, get a ball, and flip it right here. Flip it. Remove that. Remove the newspaper, right? And now put that on top of it. On, flip it. It's a lot of flipping. You probably don't remember, right? Okay. Just make sure that what you want to do is, right? You want the texture to be on top. Okay. So you will think about the way to make sure you get a texture on top. And now it's not in the center, right? What do you do? Which part? Which side? This side or this side? Right or left? Right. Okay, very good. Right? It's basic physics. Okay. Okay? Got it? All right. And now we want to compress in bowl to compress it. But again, I don't want it to stick on it. What do you do? Get a plastic bag. So you will be able to see where is your center, right? Find your center, right? It's very hard to find the center. You have to good eyeball it. What do you do? Put it in the back, right? Okay, so that's center. Next. You don't need to press very hard, right? As long as the edges pump it up. And then kind of adjust it. Okay, adjust and then slowly let go. That's it. Okay, now you don't want to remove it because one other thing, you have to transfer it safely without damage your compression, right? So what do you do? Flip it. Flip it. Remove, right? And then put it on top. Flip it. You don't want to touch it. You see that? Memory. If you touch it, you put the memory to the clay, right? So you see that I didn't even touch the clay. Right? Okay? On. Easy, right? Okay? So that is the sushi plate. And you can slightly adjust it, right? The angle, if you don't want the angle to be too high, you can slightly adjust it. Okay? And just let it sit for a while until it's firm enough. And then I will show you how to round the corner, round the edges, so that it doesn't, because once the clay has been fired, the sharp edge is going to stay sharp and it's going to cut your fingers. So you will wait until it's a little bit firm up and get a paper towel, wet it, squeeze, put it in the water and squeeze out the water and just rub around with it. You will smooth it easily, okay? So that's how you do it, okay? So that is our sushi plate. It's very simple, easy way.